Hello everyone and welcome back to the only series out there that combines the story of Magic the Gathering with the physical cards you can win. I'm Simon and this is Friday Night Lore. On this week's FNL, I want to continue focusing on important figures of the plane Zendikar. With the Battle For Zendikar ever approaching, it's a good idea to cover the characters who I believe could impact the block storyline. This week, I want to discuss everyone's favorite flipper-toting planeswalker, Kiora. This multiversial merfolk may have made her debut appearance in Duels of the Planeswalker 2012, but she is still heavily tied to the Eldrazi doomed land of Zendikar. So without further ado, let's dive right into her lore. Man, I am hilarious with these puns. Kiora Ottawa is a merfolk from the plane of Zendikar. Zendikar's merfolks are curious and thoughtful while being natural-born explorers. Their civilization is one based on analytical thinking and hidden ancient secrets. They hold great positions of trade on the plane, proving themselves shrewd merchants and reliable transporters of goods. These merfolks follow three notable gods who once visited their world and left their marks on it. M, the god of the wind and skies. Ula, god of the sea, and Cozy, the trickster god of misfortune. Well, Nahiri called them gods anyway, we know them simply as the Eldrazi. Little is known about Kiora's past and origins. We don't even know how the Planeswalker's spark ignited, something I hope gets cleared up as we progress towards the Battle for Zendikar. While Zendikar is her homeland, we know almost nothing about her activities there. What we do know, however, is the scope of Kiora's power. This merfolk planeswalker has the ability to summon and control any number of giant monsters and leviathans from the ocean's depths. Think of her as MTG's version of Aquaman, but, you know, more cool. She has great respect for all living things beneath the waves, but holds a special place in her esteems for the strongest and largest beasts of the sea, believing they best exemplify the traits of the ocean. When the Eldrazi eventually escaped their magical prison, Kiora realized that her ancient people's gods were in fact the most destructive force facing her world. While many merfolk saw these colorless beings as the coming of their old gods, Kiora saw them for what they were, a force of nature from the blind eternities set to consume all in their path, nothing really godly about them. With the Eldrazi's power in full display, Kiora summoned the largest creatures the seas of Zendikar could produce. But even they weren't strong enough to stop the hordes of spawnlings which ravaged the land, let alone the Eldrazi themselves. Kiora knew that the key to saving her world lay beneath the waves, but that didn't mean just the waves of her ocean. She planeswalked from Zendikar, well, more like planeswam, in search of the largest sea creatures in the multiverse, hoping to use her magic to bring them back to her world and defeat the Eldrazi threat. Kiora eventually finds herself on the world of Theros, replacing the false gods of Zendikar with actual gods. When she arrived, she expelled as much mana as she could and created a giant tsunami, hoping to grab the attention of the world's underwater behemoths. The surging waters severely damaged the Polish city of Miletus, but Kiora couldn't care less. She just knew this wave would signal the greatest beasts of Theros. As she felt the water of this world react to her spell, she could feel the giants moving under the ocean's surface, but they would not make contact with her. No matter how hard she tried, they just wouldn't spill their secrets easily. She may not have attracted her prized leviathans, but she did grab the attention of Theros' native population of merfolk, known as Tritons. The Tritons of Theros are similar to the merfolk on Zendikar, with some minor physical differences. But even with these variations being minor, the Tritons saw Kiora as otherworldly, which to them meant something godly. The Tritons of Theros follow and worship the god Thesa, the god of the sea, which takes the physical form of a giant merfolk carrying a bident. With her bident, Thesa controls the very seas of Theros. The Tritons watched as Kiora, using most of all the mana she had stored up, dragged a giant leviathan between worlds. Since no beast would come to her, she just summoned one from a plane she had already gained control of. The Tritons saw this as an act of their god, and started to talk to Kiora as if she was an avatar of Thesa. Kiora secretly enjoyed this newfound attention, but decided to make use of these merfolk's devotion to help peel back the secrets of this plane, and uncover its monsters. As she talked to one of the Tritons, she learned much about the world's waters. She was brought into contact with an ancient beast known as Monsoon. This beast acted as a ship to those who showed devotion to the sea and guided them to any destination they wanted. Kiora had no devotion to these waters yet, but with a simple spell, the ship became hers regardless. On her travels, Kiora started taking a more low-key profile than her previous story of being a god's avatar and all. She took on the identity of a famous navigator instead, named Caliphie. Yet, a strong storm soon separated Kiora from her living ship, and it was discovered by none other than Ajani Goldmane and Elspeth Terrell. Ajani and Elspeth were on their own mission to stop the usurper god Xenagos, but needed a ship and a navigator. But not just any navigator, they needed the famous navigator Caliphie, who had traveled to the edge of the world. It just so happened that Caliphie herself found the two planeswalkers with her ship, and agreed to help them on their journey for the ship's safe return. Caliphie just didn't mention that she was in fact a planeswalker, and her name was Kiora, and she wasn't really a navigator. It'll be fine, right? While Kiora agreed to help the pair, she was all about serving her own interests first. She had heard stories of the largest kraken on Theros, a beast multiple times larger than any other she had seen across the multiverse, a beast who could actually stand up against the Eldrazi. Her living ship, the Monsoon, knew where this beast could be found and how to reach Nyx, but obviously it only followed Kiora's orders. The trio eventually arrived, and Kiora welcomed them to the ancient city of Eryxmithis. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that. Ajani and Elspeth were confused. They believed they were going to the edge of the world, but Kiora let it slip that they were in fact on a beast and not a city at all. With the two planeswalkers fully suspicious, Kiora revealed herself, thanking them for their help in reaching her goal and offering them her living ship so that they could finish theirs. With everyone happy, Kiora turned to see the waves restless and angry. She felt what was coming. It was something she knew she had to deal with at some time, and her time had come. The true god of the seas on Theros had arrived. She knew Thesa would want her to answer for her crimes against her seas, so Kiora began to prepare for the conflict. She needed allies now, and her allies always lied beneath the waves. She dove as deep as she could and gathered as much mana as possible. Using this mana, she gained the allegiance of as many krakens and leviathans in the oceans of Theros as she could. She also summoned as many beasts from across the multiverse as she could pull through the blind eternities. At the end of it all, Kiora had an armada of monsters from multiple planes ready to fight for her. Finally, Kiora tried to gain control of the largest of all, Eryxmithis, but then Thesa appeared in the skies. Kiora would never have the god's prized creature. The island-sized monster bucked and was completely under the control of Thesa. Thesa was furious at Kiora. She had disguised herself as a god and stolen the devotion of her own people. The god only existed because the Tritons believed and worshipped her. To lose them would cause the god to fall from grace. Thesa saw Kiora as a threat which had to be dealt with. As the god attacked, Kiora set her beast loose to fight, yet she underestimated the power of Thesa. With a tilt of her mighty bident, the god gained control of every single monster Kiora had stolen from Theros, and even some from other worlds. Yet Kiora still had some allies from across the multiverse under her control, and with that, the epic Undersea Battle began. The battle looked to be locked in a stalemate until the god herself landed on the battlefield. Kiora could do nothing but watch as she dispatched with waves of underwater beasts with ease. The god then caused a whirlpool to appear beneath Kiora, which dragged her to the sea floor. There, she faced the god of the sea herself. Even Kiora, as cocky as she is, knew that this fight was already over. She attempted to flee back into the water to buy her enough time to planeswalk, but Thesa threw her Bident, which pinned her against a large boulder. The god then placed her Bident onto the planeswalker's neck and began to apply pressure. Kiora was being choked. Thesa told Kiora that she needed to learn humility, that none could control any sea on Theros but her. Kiora kindly informed the god that there are more seas than she knows, which seemed to stump the god, who had no knowledge of other planes. As the staff of the god's mystical bident pressed on Kiora's throat, she thanked Thesa. With a laugh and a satisfying grin, Kiora melted into the ocean wall behind her and planeswalked, taking the bident with her. And that's all we know about Kiora right now. Obviously, her story is left on a cliffhanger. She is now in possession of this powerful otherworldly weapon which can control the most powerful sea creatures in the multiverse. Will she go back for the huge Kraken on Theros, the one which she believed able to defeat the Eldrazi? When will she return to Zendikar with her army of sea monsters? These are the types of questions I'm looking forward to being answered. In any case, I want to know what you guys think about Kiora. Do you think she'll play a major role in the Battle for Zendikar? Let me know in the comments below. And with that comment, you can enter for your chance to win a copy of Kiora the Crashing Wave from Born of the Gods. Yep, all you have to do is be a subscriber to this channel and leave a comment on this video. At the end of the week, I'll use a random number generator to select a comment and announce the winner at the end of next week's Friday Night Lore episode, so stay tuned to see if you've won. Now let's move on to unveil the winner of last week's FNL giveaway. Last week's topic followed the Zendikar theme as I covered Nahiri the Lithomancer, and was giving away her card of the same name. So the winner of last week's FNL and new owner of this Nahiri the Lithomancer card is... Tony Cast. Congratulations to the YouTube user Tony Cast. If you could, please check your private messages on YouTube. There you should find a message from me with all the information I need to send you this card. If you can't find it, try checking your spam folder, cause it could have ended up there. So, there you go guys, I hope you all enjoyed this week's FNL. If you did, support this channel by giving it a like, share, and subscribing. It really goes a long way in supporting future content. You can also support this channel by visiting my sponsor, ABU Games. ABUGames.com is one of the leading online Magic the Gathering stores and have everything you're looking for from booster boxes to specific singles. This Friday Night Lore and all my giveaways are brought to you directly by ABU Games, so check them out. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you next time.